From the nation's capital, this is The View from Washington with Congressman Buck McKeon.
There's been a lot of talk. I know we've worked hard last year on working to reauthorize the bill, and I know I saw an article a month or so back where the chairman of the Education Committee was blaming the president that we're not able to move forward on No Child Left Behind, and I thought that was very interesting because my understanding after being here now 15 years is we have an executive branch, we have a legislative branch, we have a judicial branch. And the legislative branch's responsibility is to write, introduce, pass legislation, and get it to the president's desk for signing. And to say that the president is responsible for not reauthorizing No Child Left Behind last year when the chairman did not even introduce a bill. You know, it was just a little over a year ago. We were in the president's office, and it was on the 5th anniversary of No Child Left Behind, and the chairman in the Senate, Senator Kennedy, told the president he would have a bill out by March. Chairman Miller said it'd take him a little bit longer, but he'd be closely behind. And now we're in January, a year later, and neither of them has introduced a bill yet. And I think it's unfortunate, but to blame it on the president when his only responsibility is to either sign the bill or veto the bill. You know, we had a couple of meetings also with Mrs. Bush in the White House trying to move this forward, and we've had countless meetings, hearings, and trying to move the process forward. What is your take on where we stand on this now and the chances of anything being done?
Well, you're probably better able to handicap that than I am, but I will tell you that when I was with the president last week on the anniversary date, he charged me with taking a look at things that we in the executive branch might do in the absence of a reauthorization, because you know and I know that people are having school out there with or without congressional action. This is a good, strong law that will stay on the books. It does not expire. We will be marching towards 2014 with each passing day. And, I regret that the Congress is not able to take action on a good, strong bill. I hope they will. But if they don't, we need to do some things to right the ship, to make this more workable for our educators. And I'm going to use tools that I can administratively to do that. But, I'm still hopeful, as I know you are, that we'll get to a good place and be able to work together in a bipartisan way as we have for so long. Obviously, this is a political year. There are interests of grown-ups at play all the time, so that may be somewhat of a struggle. But with your help, Congressman, I certainly hope we can get there.
If you could wave a magic wand and just kind of fix things, what would be a couple of most important things you could see that we could fix in the reauthorization and moving forward with No Child Left Behind?
Well, I think a few things. One is, I'd have to stipulate that the accountability system remains strong and meaningful and very transparent and very direct and as simple to understand as possible for our publics. I think that is essential. And anything to dial back on that really would be a huge a problem for our kids. That's the first thing. I think just from a policy wonk kind of point of view, yes, we ought to have a way to chart progress that's more accurate and more fair, the growth idea. And then I also think the American people, and certainly the business community, is demanding that we do something about our high schools. They know that reading on the 3rd grade level by 2014 is not adequate if we're going to get kids in and out of college and in and out of high school, that we need to pick up the pace and that we need to focus more intently on our high schools and dropout rates and those sorts of issues. So, we really need more of this sort of philosophy of rigor and standards and measurement, not less. So I think and by the way, if you have a magic wand, I'd be glad to get it before I leave.
I've kidded with people. I said, if you would just make me dictator for a week, we could fix a lot of this stuff. I'd be very benevolent.
I'm for that. I'm for you being the dictator.
But that's not our system, and our system is one that, when our forefathers came across the ocean and established a beachhead here and established this country. They were fleeing monarchy. They wanted freedom. They wanted the independence. They wanted to be able to solve things for themselves, and they set up a government that ensured that no one would have too much power. I think lately we've kind of carried it to extreme. It's to the point where we just finished a year where we really didn't accomplish a lot, and we had a lot of votes. We twice the number of votes that we normally have in a year, and we named a lot of post offices. But I'm a little frustrated that we're not making the progress that we should. Education should not be a partisan issue. You know, if we want to fight on some things, we ought to do that. But education, our children are too important to have them be ping pong balls in a
political fight.
And so I'm hoping that we really can get to task on this and do some of the things that you've pointed out are very important. I'm happy to hear you say that you and the president have decided that absent a reauthorization, you're not going to wait. You're going to do things that are necessary to make the law better. I haven't seen a perfect law yet, and that's why we do have the importance of a reauthorization. What have I missed? What are some things that we should be talking about in this process?
Well, one of the things that we need to talk about, of course, is that none of this work is possible without focusing on our teachers. And, you know, we need to find ways to get our most effective personnel in our most challenging educational settings. And, you know, one of the dirty little secrets in education, I've represented school boards, you've been on a school board, the state legislative arena, you know, that we have often our most experienced personnel in the cream puff, kind of least challenging educational settings, and vice versa. If you're brand new, if you're a struggling, you know, year one teacher, you're going to be in the inner city in a very, very challenging environment. And we need to start recognizing that. We need to start, you know, stop rationing rigor and teaching excellence so that we can close the achievement gap. But we're going to have to, you know, use merit pay systems that will make those sorts of assignments attractive to our best teachers. As you know, the president has advocated a $100 million pilot program that we can start thinking through these pay-for-performance sorts of systems. And I think, you know, that'll be a major way to help us start thinking about where we put our best people and how we use time. We're not going to be able to get all kids on grade level by 2014 if we don't start challenging some of these sacred cows of education. And that's certainly one of them.
You know, we had a hearing... it's been a few years ago now, but I remember a young African American male teacher, and he said he went to work. It might have been here in D.C., and he was put in the second or third grade, and he says, I was told go in and teach these kids how to read.
Yeah.
He says, well, I knew how to read, but I had never been taught how to teach reading. And after a couple of years, he was ready to quit. Fortunately, a good administrator got hold of him and got him into some remedial help on how to teach reading. And he said that had been a few years before, and now he says, I'm enjoying it. My kids are learning. I'm feeling fulfilled. It's a wonderful thing. You know, people that go into teaching don't do it to make a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And they don't.
Right.
But the important thing is that they should be given the opportunity to do what they want to do. They should be given the help that they need to do what they want to do. You know, most businesses, when you hire somebody new, the first day you don't just throw them to the wolves.
Absolutely.
You know, and we kind of do that in teaching. So I'm glad to hear you talk about those kind of things, the mentoring and things that are necessary, because we have too great a dropout rate among students. We also have a dropout rate among teachers.
Well, that's right.
And some of them quit, and some of them stay but quit, if you know,
yeah,
you know what I'm
exactly.
talking about.
But, you know, I'm also heartened when I hear that, you know, Teach for America is the #1 recruiter on college campuses these days.
Job.
They're doing a great job. I mean, many people, kids
so how does that
and...
work? maybe our audience.
Teach for America is a program that goes to very elite colleges and state universities and says, give us 2 years of your life and become a teacher.
Maybe somebody's going into engineering or
Exactly.
something totally different, but
they make a commitment to our schools, and it's great for kids. It's great for them. They learn a lot about life and children and so forth, and it makes them, I think, obviously great teachers. They're well supported by Teach for America and by school systems who embrace them, and it makes them great consumers of public education for the rest of their lives. But there is a demand. People want to be in teaching, but they want to be supported, and they deserve to be.
Well, Madam Secretary, I see the light flashing, and it looks like our time is gone, but I really want to thank you for being here today, and I think that this has been an educational process for our viewers.
Thank you.
And I hope you enjoy what you've heard here today and know that this is just the first of many, and hope that we can have this continuing series run all year. And thank you very much for listening.